Standard 10, Subject History and Political Science. Chapter 2, Historiography, Indian Tradition. Dear children, in this part of the Historiography Indian Tradition, we shall study about historiography in the modern period. In the 20th century, the Indian archaeological exploration and research started under the British rule. A number of ancient sites were excavated under the supervision of Sir Alexander Cunningham and first Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India. He chose mainly the sites mentioned in the Buddhist text for this purpose. Harappan civilization has discovered during the tenure of Sir John Marshall. The History of British India, written by James Mill, were published in 1817. This was the first book of Indian history written by a British historian. He clearly reflects an absence of objective perspective and prejudice about various aspects of the Indian culture. The History of India, written by Mount Stuart Elphinstone, Governor of Bombay, was published in 1841. The period of Maratha Empire is very important in the modern history. Grand DUFF's name stands out among the British officers who wrote about Maratha history. He wrote the book entitled A History of Marathas. This book is published in 3 volumes. Grand Duff writings also shows the British inclination of contempt Indian culture and history. Nilkant Janardhan Kirtane and Vishwanath Kashinath Rajwade were 2 Indian historians who took upon the task of exposing the limitations of Grand Duff's writings. Colonial Historiography. The early scholars who studied and wrote Indian history were mainly British officers and Christian missionaries. Their prejudice is clearly reflected in the way some of them have ridiculed Indian culture. Their writings were used to justify the colonial British rule. Orientalist Historiography. Many European scholars felt curious about civilization and countries of the East. Some of those scholars felt admiration and respect for them. These scholars were known as Orientalists. The Orientalists studied the similarities between Sanskrit and some of the European languages. They focused more on Vedic tradition and Sanskrit literature. Their studies resulted into formulating the nation of an ancient language that could be the mother of all Indo-European languages. In 1784, Sir William Jones founded Asiatic Society in Kolkata. It opened the doors for research in ancient Indian literature and history. Among the Orientalist scholars, Frederick Max Muller observed a special mention. In his opinion, Sanskrit was the most ancient language of the Indo-European languages. He was deeply interested in Sanskrit literature. He first translated the Sanskrit text of Hitopadesh. He was the editor of 50 volumes, the sacred books of the East. He also compiled Rig Veda, which has been published in 6 volumes. He translated Rig Veda in German. Nationalistic Historiography. The writings of Indian historians who were trained in the British educational system show an inclination to restore the pride in the ancient glory of India and the self-esteem of the Indian readers. Their writings are known as nationalistic historiography. Nationalistic writings in Maharashtra were inspired by Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar. He criticized the prejudiced history of ancient India written by British officers. The nationalistic historians tried to seek the golden era of Indian history. Mahadev Govind Ranade, Ramkrishna Gopal Bhandarkar, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, Rajendra Lal Mishra, Ramesh Chandra Mojumdar, Kashi Prasad Jaiswal, Radha Mukund Mukherjee, Bhagwan Lal Indraji, Vasudev Vishnu Mirashi, and Anand Sadashiv Altekar are the names of some renowned scholars among the nationalistic historians. V.K. Rajwade founded Bharat Itihas Samshodak Mandal in Pune on 7 July 1910 to facilitate historical research. Rajwade is well known for the writing of Marathi on varied subjects like history, linguistics, etymology, grammar, etc. He was of the firm opinion that we should write our own history. He stated history is the all-inclusive image of the past society. It does not include only the stories of political images, conspiracy, and wars for seizing powers. He insisted that history should be written only using the authentic documentary sources. The nationalistic historiography helped in the triggering of the independence movement of the Indian people against the British. In this aspect, the book The Indian War of Independence 1857, written by Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, is of great importance. The nationalistic historiography provided a momentum to the writing of regional histories too. As a result, the attention of historians was known to the geographic conditions and history of South Indian regions. Thank you.